Good morning, Wareham, and we apologize for our technical difficulties. It is Monday, September 9th, and we have a lovely show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, we'll be hosting Alicia Neal, the founder of Angel Babies. She'll be talking about upcoming event that she would love to gain your participation in, and also a visit to Art Farm and Plymouth County Farm in addition to more. But first, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay tuned because the weather and the news headlines are next. Intervals of clouds and sunshine, high at 71 degrees today. At night, mainly clear skies with low at 53. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, high at 73. At night, some clouds at time and low at 61. And now to the news. There are plenty of news stories upcoming in other news headlines. Wareham Week had the following stories. The Conservation Commission approved the Buzzards Bay Coalition's request to remove the Horseshoe Mill Dam. The coalition has intended to remove the crumbling dam since it purchased the property located at the end of the station street in 2012. The concrete bridge will remain, but the spillway will be removed to allow the water and sediment to flow freely. The demolition will also allow fish to migrate further up the river. Removing the dam will also extend the reach of the tide, which currently ends at the dam. After the removal, the tide will reach up to 2,000 feet above the dam's location at the highest tides. In addition to improving the environment, the coalition will make the dam a nicer place to visit for people. Parking spaces and a kayak ranch will be added. Additionally, the raceway, a small canal that runs alongside the river, will be filled with the material removed from the dam and topped with stone and gravel to create an compliant ramp, ADA compliant ramp to kayak ranch. And also another news, Representative Susan Williams Gifford has filed a bill in the House of Representatives that would grant the Gaming Commission the authority to offer a slots-only license for the region, which could allow the Wareham Park project to get a license. Wareham Park is a casino and a horse racing facility proposed by Notos Group, a Quincy-based developer. The project, which would be located between Glen Charlie Road and Route 25, would also include a new park for Wareham gatemen to use during the summer baseball season, restaurants, and some shops. Currently, the only license available in the state is for a full resort casino, which is not what the developers are looking for. Gifford's bill would give the commission the ability to offer a slots-only license for Region C, which requires a license to pay a $25 million fee, make at least $125 million investment, and pay 49% of the gaming revenue in taxes. Region C is the last region in the state without a resort casino and encompasses Plymouth, Barnstable, Bristol, Bucks, and Nantucket counties. If the bill is passed and the commission decides to offer a slots-only license, there will be a bidding process allowing multiple applicants to compete for the license. And to our third news of the day, as a coastal town, Wareham is especially vulnerable to the efforts of climate change. The town received a municipality vulnerability action grant from the state, which will fund a town-wide climate change flood vulnerability study and determine what the adaptation might be necessary. A public outreach session will be held at 6 p.m. on Thursday, September 26th, in room 27 at the town hall. At the session, the reasons behind the goals for the study will be discussed alongside data already collected and the first look at the results. There will be a 30-minute presentation followed by the opportunity to ask questions and review the draft risk maps in details. And that's all for today's morning news. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with more. Welcome back, Wareham. At the moment, we are going to take a look at Art Farm located in Wareham. Well, hello, Wareham. Today, we're coming to you from Art Farm, which is located right on Main Street in Wareham. This place is where inspiration and creativity runs freely. With me is Diane Nzn, who is the owner of this beautiful property, and today we are her guests. Could we take a look at the property?
Of course you may. Thank you. Come on in.
Oh, why don't you take me to the moon? I'll fly with you in a balloon, and there you'll kiss me, and we will walk back to you.
Well, thank you so much for having us here today. I am very curious to learn about the history of this beautiful property.
I found out years ago when I first bought this property that it was part of the Toby homestead.
Yes.
Originally, which was a lot of farmland. And this area has a lot of stone walls in it that were built back in that time. I also found out that the backside of my stone wall is the marker for the old stagecoach road that used to bypass the hill before they had automobiles. This was actually called, and some people still call it South Wareham.
South Wareham.
This one section.
Okay.
Oh, this is just happening all too soon. My life looks like a cartoon, and then you kiss me, and I'm all stuck with you.
Now, you told me before, you said when you came here, the first time you saw this property, wasn't so promising. But you looked beyond that. And part of it is due to how you were raised, where you came from.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, growing up, I had 3 brothers, and one of them loved the outdoors, and he was nice enough to take his little sister with him all the time. So I learned a lot about the outdoors from my brother David, and pollywogs and salamanders and all those fun things, and my mother was appalled. The first daughter was coming home with things in her pockets. But that's initiated my love of the outdoors.
After 31 years working for the post office, Diane retired. Her current work revolves around her garden, growing her artwork. She opened up Art Farm stand this summer, inviting the public to admire, learn, and be inspired. Featuring photographs from her garden, painted slates, herbs, Cape Cod decor wreath, and more. Each art piece is unique.
This one here is on from a 600-year-old barn. They took the roof slates off a 600-year-old barn, and this was from Montana. And they're thicker than the ones that you find around here, because every quarry does it different, and depending on where they're going to be building, what they wanted for the size and the thickness of the slate.
You could tell, it's so layered.
Oh, this is just happening all too soon. My life looks like a cartoon, and then you kiss me, and I'm all stuck with you.
What's this?
Oh.
I love the story about this.
All right, these are smudge kits. The Native Americans and a lot of other native cultures across the world actually have similar practices. What they do in Native America is you take a shell from the local beach, and then they take herbs like sage, and what they do is you dry the sage, and you can crumple it up, and you put it in the base of the shell.
Okay.
And then you light the shell, and it will smolder.
Yeah.
Just make the smoke. And you take a native feather, and this is a wild turkey feather, and what you do is it's a ceremony of blessings. You wish good blessings or positive energy on your home, on your family, when someone's sick, when you have a new baby, anything. It's a way of celebrating life and to spread positive is what it is. Some people say it's more about getting rid of the negative. The way I look at it, it's more spreading the positive.
Yes.
If you spread the positive, you automatically get rid of the negative, right?
Forever and ever till the end of time.
My posted hours are 11 to 6, Thursdays through Saturdays.
Very good. Well, as for that, this concludes our tour. Thank you so much and have a lovely day. Bye.
Do, 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 do you.
I hope you enjoyed that. You can contact Diana anytime you wish to commission her to do something or just want to take a look at what she has. At the moment, we are going to take a look at safety assurance program that guarantees you free safety for free. Security, independence, and peace of mind. These three things are guaranteed by a special life-saving program administered right here at the Plymouth Sheriff Department. Keeping the public safe couldn't have gotten any easier, thanks to the Safety Assurance Program.
So this is our CARE program right here. We operate under the name of Safety Assurance. And this is just our program that we use to actually make the phone calls. Right here in this box.
This telephone software program checks on Plymouth residents by registering one phone call a day, answering this key question.
Good morning. This is the Plymouth County Sheriff's Safety Assurance Program.
Yes?
If you are okay, press 1. If you are not okay, press 3. If you need to talk to the officer on duty, press 5. You can hang up now. Thank you.
Bye.
At the other side of this call is a full-time officer whose main responsibility is to facilitate the conversation between the mobile software program and the client.
It's a well-being call system for people who live alone, who have health issues, mostly the elderly. We do have some younger people on there as well.
When you make these calls, what are you looking to hear, and how long do these calls last?
What I'm looking to hear is that the client picks up the phone, that they say hello, and that they hit the appropriate button. And typically the call, depending on if they're having phone issues, you know, it could go from 1 to 2 minutes. Sometimes I have them rummaging through for their phone to turn it on, hit the button. Sometimes it can go a little bit longer. Sometimes the phone disconnects. the system automatically knows when they hang up, the system hangs up, and will print out one of these papers right here if there's any issues.
And in case of an emergency or a need for medical attention, the officer on duty is your first responder, working fast to get you the assistance that you need.
So if something is not okay, I'm alerted that, they hit a button where they do need assistance. I will typically call them, say, is everything okay? It looks like you hit this button on this, and they go, well, Kevin, things aren't, okay today. I'm having some chest pains. I think I need a little help. Typically, I say, would you like me to call you an ambulance? And they go, yes, can you please do that? So I'll call them the ambulance, I'll notify them where they live, what's going on, and I'll call the client back and just say, the ambulance is on the way. Would you like me to stay on the phone with you while the ambulance is en route?
And just in case you're curious to how you could be so lucky to receive one of these safety calls, all you need to do is register through your Council on Aging or contact the Plymouth Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
Now, are you looking for a specific age or a specific condition somebody has to have? What are the qualifications in order to be in this program?
It does not matter. I mean, it's usually for, our clients live alone. Some have health conditions, some don't. Some get around the house just fine. They just want that extra peace of mind that, someone's going to check on them.
And to the other Plymouth County residents, especially those living alone, that one call a day can be the difference between life and a severe life-threatening emergency.
Well, just this year alone, we have saved three of our clients, just this year.
What are some stories you can tell me, not to give out anybody's identity, but during your job, making calls? What are some stories that you can share with me?
Last year, it's around the time that I started, I had a woman who was having trouble answering the phone at her given time, and I used to always say, oh no, I think something has happened. And so one time she did pick up the phone. She answered on the phone. She pressed a button, but then it was one that I needed to check on her to see if she's okay. And I thought, oh, she probably just hit the button on mistake. I know she doesn't have the greatest vision. Then I kept calling her and she wasn't answering. So I go, okay, that's not good. She's not answering now. And, typically I will call a person back just, because they just answered the phone. So why aren't they answering now? So I got the police to go over there. They said that she had happened to fall and hit her head on where the phone was located right after the phone call. And that's where they found her and were able to take her to the hospital.
So you respond right away. If somebody's not picking up their call and this is unlike them, you take the next step further. You call the police, they go and check on her.
Yes, that's what we have to do. We have to make sure that everyone is accounted for no matter what. That's why we're here.
What are some of the information you need to have? Let's say I'm interested, I want to be in this program. What do you need from me?
All I need to know typically is I need your phone number, where we're going to contact you. I need your address in case I do need to ever send, an ambulance out. I need to have personal contacts, if any. If not, I usually just write down in my notes, call PD, local police department, does not have any contacts.
Comparing the Safety Assurance Program to other medical alert plans out there, such as the Life Alert, Senior Safety, and more, there are a handful of qualities that set this particular program apart from the rest. And one main reason being that the Safety Assurance Program does not cost a dime, and it does not need additional products, such as a purchase of a safety pendant, in order for the program to work. All you need is a phone.
So many elderly individuals or people that might have medical issues in your community, we have this right here that would be a reassurance not only for them, but the loved ones that are out there for these people, that we're reaching out and we're touching base with them and saying that we know you're all right.
It all sounds very promising, right? But despite the program's incentives, such as safety and accountability, the program is not popular. There remains a large population with compelling reasons to why they abstain from the program.
With that being said, some of the reasons, maybe they'd be a little reluctant to the fact that they don't want to give up their independence, and I totally understand that.
There is also the stigma of the alarming blue lights outside your house when the police are called in case of an emergency, or what will happen to you if you fail to answer the call on time. These fears and more are what the department is working so hard to mitigate. So in case you're still on the fence regarding the safety assurance program, if it is for you or not, try thinking of it this way.
So it's not only a peace of mind for the person that's receiving the call, it's also for their loved ones that are out there that are getting the reassurance that they're on the program. So
currently, there are about 150 Plymouth County residents in the Safety Assurance Program, a number that the Sheriff's Department is saying is too low, and they're hoping that more residents will take advantage of this life-saving program. Reporting from the Plymouth Sheriff's Department, I am Queen Banda of WCTV. As stated, the program is free and it's available to you residents in Wareham because you are part of the Plymouth County. So you can just call them to enlist, and once again, it's just you determine what time the call should come in, and it's your way of to have your relatives, anyway, keep tabs on you to make sure that you are nice and safe and secured. And how right now we are going to visit the Buzzards Bay Marine Life Center. Discover the marine world at the National Marine Life Center. Located near the Cape Cod Canal at 120 Main Street in Bourne, the National Marine Life Center is a must-see destination.
If you were a melody.
The nonprofit caters to stranded marine mammals or federally protected, and many of whom are endangered.
The animals don't come with health insurance, so every single dollar that comes through here, we have to raise it ourselves through grants, through special events.
Operating on a budget of an average of $450,000 and an army of dedicated volunteers.
I like to tell anybody who wants to come and work with the animals and thinks it's really, really glamorous, right? Well, you got to be able to do dishes and clean the floors and stuff like that.
Birthed in 1995, the hospital treats an average of 130 marine mammals per year.
So this is Tonks, and she is a harp seal. And she's actually a harp seal weanling, which means she was recently weaned from her mom. She's old enough to be on her own, so she's probably about a month and a half old. But she's first of all, she's in a place where she's not supposed to be. Most harp seals are born up in Canada, and she was found in southern Maine. And she was just not, like she was being tumbled in the water. She had some malnourishment and dehydration. She's really improved now. She still doesn't know how to eat on her own. So we're tube feeding her in the morning and night, and then we're doing fish school. We're putting some fish on strings and kind of trying to get her instinct kind of to kick in. And so she's getting fish schooled a couple times a day, and she's starting to learn how to eat on her own. I'm going to tell you a little intro in here because it's really loud next door, but that way I can introduce the animals to you. So our hospital next door is where we take care of seals and sea turtles, like I mentioned earlier. And these are federally protected species. All the sea turtles that we take care of are endangered. The seals aren't endangered, but they're protected under the Federal Marine Mammal Protection Act. And that's because they have been hunted for so long that without this protection, they would be in danger of becoming endangered. These are sea turtles of a species called Kemp's ridley, and it's the most endangered sea turtle in the world. And it's also the species of sea turtle that comes most often up here to Massachusetts.
These sea turtles are hatched in warm climate and begin a voyage to the Gulf Stream.
Where they spend a couple years kind of they're protected by all the seaweed, the sargassum, and then when they get a little bit older, they start to come closer to shore and swim around more and kind of leave the Gulf Stream and more actively swim around their environment. Well, if the Gulf Stream is up north, when these turtles are old enough to kind of leave it.
During the winter, as the turtles journey down south, some of them get trapped inside the arm of Cape Cod, ending up suffering from extreme hypothermia.
So most of them have pneumonia, some of them have broken bones, some of them have different kinds of infections, bacterial infections and viral infections and parasitic infections, and you name it. These turtles are in really, really rough shape.
The treatment can span from months to years.
So our veterinarian makes up the orders, and then our animal care staff will prepare the charts for our volunteers to implement. Hi. So these are two gray seal weanlings. Hagrid on the right is a male. He's about 4 months old, 4 or 5 months old, and he came in malnourished, dehydrated with a lot of parasitic infections. Maxime, Madame Olympe Maxime on the left, you'll see she's got an eye injury, but if you can also see behind her head, there's, it looks like an indentation. That's actually, she was entangled in plastic when she was first rescued. She was actually rescued in New York. There is a seal hospital in New York called Riverhead Foundation, but they were running out of space, so they transferred her here so that we could complete her rehabilitation.
Depending on the patient's condition, the survival rate is anywhere between 60 to 75%.
Euthanasia is actually pretty rare here. The animals are so sick when they get to us that even despite all of our efforts, some animals will pass away naturally over the course of treatment.
So much can be learned from these mammals. Education and research that will bring us one step closer into understanding the largest body on Earth, the ocean.
They're really telling us what's going on in the ocean. So there's so much. The science is so interesting and so important, and it really all starts with taking care of that one individual animal and those 10 individual animals, and gathering all the data that we can along the way, even as we're helping to try to help the individual, getting as much information, as much data, so that we can learn more about the ocean and what they're telling us.
The center runs a discovery center open to the public, in addition to educational programs for all ages.
Every single day we've got these wonderful students from our local schools who come in and take care of the different animals. And then some of them, once they turn 18, they can come work with our bigger animals.
In the meantime, the hospital is overseeing an expansion that will allow the treatment of dolphins to baby whales in the future. Well, welcome back, Wareham. I hope you learned a lot from those few videos. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the program. Hello, Wareham, and thank you for being with us this morning. We are broadcasting live from our WCTV studio. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, traffic, and more information. And now for Moment in History, let's take a look at where we were today in history. Well, on this day in music history, Elvis Presley appeared on the end of Ed Sullivan's show on the first day in 1956. Sullivan had actually banned Elvis from appearing on his show, but ended up giving him a $50,000 contract after Elvis's popularity continued to grow. His first appearance garnered 60 million viewers, which was over 80% of the people who watched TV at the time. During that show, Elvis performed Hound Dog and Love Me Tender, among others. On this day in American history, the nation actually got its name in 1776. The Continental Congress agreed on the name, changing it from the United Colonies. This change in name was to reflect how the nation would operate as a free and independent state away from British rule. And also today in Boston history, the Boston Police Department went on strike exactly 100 years ago in 1919. As police were becoming more regulated with the turn of the century, many officers were unhappy. Local police unions began to form, and the BPD infamously went on strike, leading to something akin to the Purge movies, though not nearly as bad. Looters and vendors committed many crimes, but a militia and volunteers band together to serve as a temporary law enforcement. Now it is illegal for police to go on strike, but officers are allowed to unionize in large numbers. For today's birthday, shout out goes to a man by the Chicken, Cano Holland Sanders. Born in the 1890, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken was actually born in Indiana well over 100 years ago. His finger-licking good recipe still lives on to this day. And that's all for today in History segment. To learn more cool historical facts, you can go online under history.com. The coffee segment is first, but now the coffee segment is next. But now here's Missy Diziak talking about the Wareham Council on Aging. Remind us about this particular Council on Aging and the people that come here.
Well, this Council on Aging is very unique because a number of years ago, when the town did not pass the 2.5 override, the budget of the Council on Aging was completely cut. So there was zero funding from the town, and that's been for about 5 years. Fortunately, we were able to get a grant 2.5 years ago, and I was hired for 6 months. And through additional grant money, I've stayed on for the next 2 years part-time, like 8 to 10 hours a week through grant money.
Tell us about the need in this community.
Well, the senior population, as in every town, but even more so in Wareham, continues to grow. So I would say a good 33% of the population of Wareham are senior citizens.
And are they seniors in need, seniors who are still working?
There's so many seniors in need in town. We have a wonderful new outreach worker, Kat Rowe, and she'll connect people to the agencies that can help them. So a person that needs food, maybe we can hook them up with Old Colony Elder Services. 150 meals a day, Monday through Friday, we deliver through volunteers. Volunteers come here, pick up the meals, and deliver them to homebound seniors. That number is going to continue to grow. And those are people that we're aware of who we now are giving services to. How many people are out there that aren't aware of the services? So that's a big part of our outreach, is to make people aware of what we can offer here.
Now, when the budget cuts or when the town reviews the budget, often the argument is, or the excuse is, that we're cutting a position or a department that isn't a priority in the community compared to others. And you guys were cut as well. What is your take when we cut Council on Aging while we have a growing population of senior citizens?
Well, to me, it's the one agency that shouldn't be cut, and I do believe that the people in this town realize how important the Council on Aging is. We've had lots of new volunteers coming in. People are aware of the Council on Aging now, and there's a lot we can do without funding. We certainly need funding. You need funding for a director. You have to have a director to oversee things. You know, we can have volunteers leading trips or leading activities. That's fine, but you still need somebody to oversee all that.
Okay. So, seniors here, I visited the Council on Aging in Bourne. It was quite different from this Council on Aging here. Tell us about the restrictions in services that you cannot provide due to the lack of funding.
We can connect people to the correct services. We are very able to do that. There's many services out there that are free to seniors that don't have enough money. Food stamps, for example, we're trying to get more people on food stamps. That's not funding from the town, that's state and federal funding. Meals on Wheels, that's a federally funded program. So getting people involved in that does not cost the town money, it's just hooking them up to those services.
If you had all the funding you could, how would this Council on Aging look differently?
Number one, we'd have our own building, and we wouldn't be in the basement of an old school. But that's not going to happen. When I first came, that was kind of the first priority of the Council on Aging Board, was to find a location for us. We looked at a number of the old schools, but it would have cost millions of dollars to make it handicap accessible, to clean out the asbestos, to do things, so it just wasn't something that was going to happen. So I think we came to the realization that this is where we are now. One idea that was floated around a few years ago was to not merge, but maybe the Council on Aging could work out of the YMCA. I know the YMCA was looking to put on an addition at one point, and if we could work with them and we could have our offices there and exercise there, have a big room to serve lunches, I think that could be a possibility.
You're still fighting for them.
Still fighting for them, yes.
So in this fight, what is the biggest challenge apart from funding? Do you face any challenge from the community, people not relating to the cause?
I think the people in Wareham are very willing to help out. We also need them to come to town meeting to support the budget, because a budget is important. We finally gotten on the town budget for the first time in 5 years. We want to continue to be on the budget and hopefully see that budget increase year after year.
So speaking of a budget, we have Council on Aging, Police Department, School Department, Library. Those are just some that are coming in my head right now.
That's true.
So if you're in a panel and you had to defend yourself, why should you be permanently secured in the budget and to have that budget grow every year? What is the speech you would give?
Well, number one, we are one of the largest populations. Like I said, over 33% are seniors. Seniors have given their time and talents to work, to their town, to their churches, to their parks. You know, it's not that they want to be taken care of, because most seniors don't need to be taken care of. They can take care of themselves, but to have a nice place to come and take classes, to exercise, to come see their friends. Those that can't afford to be able to come and get a hot meal every day. Those that can't afford things to be able to come and get help with food stamps, with a housekeeper, with somebody to help the spouse if one has Alzheimer's, one's disabled, if both are disabled, which is happening, you know, to make them safe and secure in their home and know they're going to be taken care of.
I could tell you've been thinking of that response for a very long time.
Well, I just think, you know, our seniors, of course, seniors are important, and they need to be taken care of.
And they will say children important.
Right.
They will say libraries important.
They are all important, and I don't think we always need to compete with each other.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Of course, they're all important. We have to make it so we can take care of all of them.
Now, are there ways that the Council on Aging could fundraise apart from seeking grants?
Actually, that is a great question, because next month in September we are having our second casino night, which is run by the Wareham Friends of Elders and Wareham Advocates for Seniors, which are two fundraising groups for the Council on Aging. Town, we cannot fundraise.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
You did great.
Okay, you're gonna edit that thing, please?
Are you tired of having to send money for your Office 365 subscription? Are you looking for other programs that you don't have to pay for? Here are a couple of solutions to some open source programs that you might want to check out. If you want a few great alternatives to Microsoft Office, try Apache OpenOffice or LibreOffice. Both are fantastic alternatives. Keep in mind that if you still need to create a Microsoft Word or Excel document, both are able to save files in the right formats. Another popular replacement for Microsoft Office is my personal favorite, Docs, which you can use free if you have a Gmail account. You can also use Google Slides for spreadsheets and Slides for slideshows, while saving files is easy if you use your Google Drive. If you're in the market for a new photo editing program, try Paint.net, which is completely free. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that Photoshop has, but it can still do basic photo editing, adjusting, and airbrushing. Another nifty program to try out if you're into sound editing is Audacity, which you can use on either a Windows or a Macintosh computer. Just search for Paint.net or Audacity on Google, and you can download both for free. If you're interested in learning about the basics of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and organizing files, come to our free intermediate computer classes, which will run on September 5th, September 12th, and September 19th next month at 1:30 p.m. on Thursdays here at the main library. You can also check out our website to find out more about our basic computer skills classes. If you have any questions or would like to register for any of these classes, you can contact me at the library at smiller@salesinc.org, or you can call my extension at 508-295-2343, extension 1012. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Checkout of the Week from the Wareham Free Library.
Welcome back, Wareham. Now it's the coffee segment. With me is Alicia Neal, here to talk about Angel Babies Foundation. You are the founder of Angel Babies.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So she has an upcoming event on a Wednesday that she hopes to see you there, and she's going to dive into the details very soon. But for now, I would like her to remind us about Angel Babies.
Angel Babies is officially a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay,
Officially.
congratulations.
It was about a year process. I did it all myself, so
Yeah.
it took a while. So we officially have that, and we provide burial gowns for babies gone too soon and memorial events. We host several throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 coming up, but the gowns are our main focus. We host events all over the country. At this point, all over on this side of the country, and we have volunteers come out, and they can help, and we donate back to the local communities.
Now, these gowns, the special thing about these gowns are coming from people in the community. These are their wedding dresses,
Yes.
prom dresses.
Yes, it is. The community can donate their formal wear, their wedding gowns, prom dresses, communion dresses, and we transform them into the little gowns for families to be able to have those precious moments.
And in the package, you also include a blanket.
Blanket, hat, and a couple little trinkets so families don't leave empty-handed.
Oh, wonderful. So what you do, you go and you donate them, right? Like you
Yep.
donate them at Toby Hospital.
Yeah, both Cape Cod hospitals, BDI Plymouth, and then it kind of just goes out from there.
Okay. And so the whole process truly, it is completely well, secured. It's, you know, parents do not know
Yep.
who you are unless they ask for your information. So they get that peace and privacy there.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
your upcoming event on Wednesday,
Yes.
tell us about it.
We are hosting an event in Bourne, right at the community building on Main Street. Anyone of any skill level is welcome to come and volunteer. You can cut and trace, and if you can sew, please bring your machine. You can sew the little gowns. It is a basic stitch. It's just a tiny little gown. So anyone of any skill level can help. We can always find a way for somebody to help if they want to.
Are you also taking in donations that
Yes, we are. You can drop off your dresses. We'll be there from 4:30 to 8:30.
What are you hoping to accomplish? Do you have a certain amount of gowns you need to make?
We've exceeded my goal for this year, so I've doubled it. This month, I'm looking to donate about 500 kits.
Wow.
So I'm traveling all over New England. So in the process of the traveling, we're going to donate to the communities.
And I mean, the good thing is, yes, you increase the number of gowns, but also reflects on the children we are losing.
Yeah, 1 in 4 are lost is the statistic. It's 72 a day are stillborn. So it is a very high number. I can't keep up with the requests throughout the country, why I'm focusing on New England right now. Eventually we will probably grow faster than, you know, we would want, because the more we grow, the more it's because of loss. So it's bittersweet.
Now, these requests, whom are you receiving them from?
I receive them from bereavement programs, from hospitals, and I also do take local family requests.
Okay.
So families who are local, if the hospital that they're at doesn't have any or have not received donations yet, they can send me an email and I will get them to them.
Now, remind us why this cause is very dearly to you.
I lost my daughter almost 10 years ago in December, and she was too tiny for little clothing. She fit in the palm of my hand, and we have no idea why, but when she was born, I couldn't go to the store. There was nothing available. So I want to be able to offer families, even for babies who are super tiny, a little bit of comfort, and to know that their baby mattered and that they have a beautiful dress for those moments with their baby.
And I remember from our last conversation, you and I, you said, you know, families, when they're going to thinking of having a new member in their family, this is the last thing they think of.
Oh, yeah.
And even when you plan for a funeral, it takes a long time. Things like the gown, caskets, we don't make them of that size.
Yeah, it's not something that is traditionally there. You know, funeral homes often have to order them because you don't want to think about that. It is a very sad subject. And when you're pregnant, it's not what you think about. You're thinking about the birth and bringing the baby home and that excitement. You're not thinking about your final goodbyes. So it's not something that you have planned. It's not something you have, you know, it's not like when you get older and you have a will and expectations and you know, might pay your funeral and stuff. You don't do that when you're pregnant. You don't expect that to be the outcome. So when it happens, it's immediate. You're having to plan all these moments, all your first and last goodbyes, your funeral, if that's what you choose, or cremation, memorial services, and you're having to do it in literally hours. It's not, you don't get to plan it. There's no expectation of it. So to be able to offer this to families so that it's one less thing in those little moments is the least I can do to help in those dark days. And
you're also doing something else. You're bringing this issue to the forefront. This is something that people do not talk about.
No, it is a very taboo subject. It has gotten better in the 10 years that I've been in the baby loss community. It is a little bit more talked about, but there's many people who I'll meet be like, I didn't know that that was even a thing. And, you know, or I'll meet people who have seen the TV shows and stuff and they're like, thank you. you know, you helped my cousin or you helped my sister. And it's bittersweet that they recognize me through that, but I'm so thankful that we're helping get the word out there, breaking that silence and letting families have those moments and understanding that their babies mattered and it's okay to talk about them and giving them that outlet.
Well, I thank you so much for coming in the studio today. I hope people will show up. I mean,
Yes.
Do people have to sign in, or they
Nope,
just...
you can just come to the event anytime after 4:30. You're
Okay.
welcome. If you can only come for a little bit, that's fine. You can stay for the amount of time that you want to give. I mean, 30 minutes is a huge help. So, or you can stay the whole time. We usually have refreshments and drinks at this event. So.
It's a good event. I attended once, and you know, you do what you can.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what your skill level is, there's something for everyone to do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being in the studio here with us. And to our viewers, I hope you show up on Wednesday. This is for a great cause. It doesn't have to impact you directly. You should know that these are your neighbors, your loved ones, and you know, it's bringing a somber cause up in the front so parents or families do not grieve alone. And I cannot thank you enough. And I'll be there on Wednesday.
All right, we will see you there. Thank you.
I apologize for all the glitches that we suffered during today's program. We'll be back on Wednesday with no glitches. That is a promise. If you missed us this morning, this particular show will air this evening at 6 p.m. And we'll also go on our YouTube channel, Wareham Community Television on YouTube. With that, Wareham, I wish you all a wonderful day. Bye.